Welcome back. So now we're going to talk a little bit of like an extension of our discussion of segmentation, and we're going to start looking in this module about industry analysis and evolution, right? So what we did in the last module, we talked about things like segmentation, okay? And segmentation asks some fundamental questions. Okay? Segmentation asks, what is the relevant unit of analysis used for strategy formulation? As you probably remember, we talked about boundaries and things like that, because it's important to know exactly in which industry you compete. You know, a big part of Michael Porter's discussion is strategy is deciding what not to do. Okay? And what it was included in that discussion of what not to do is, in what industries do you not compete? Are you trying to, it's impossible for every firm or any firm to be everything to every single customer. So you have to be able to segment your industry and decide exactly where you're going to compete. Okay? Now, segmentation is particularly relevant to key success factors because at different levels of analysis within an industry, there are different key success factors. And key success factors are essentially the rules of the game. It helps you understand kind of a combination of what customers want and what you need to do to survive the competition. It's understanding how to get that perfect intersection of your supply and demand curve. And so once you understand the key success factors, once you kind of understand the rules of the game, then you ask yourself, well, should I actually go into that industry or not? And that's when we start getting the 5 forces analysis. Okay? And that's when you start looking at things like the competition, the profit potential, the attractiveness of a given industry, and what you need to do to improve profitability or change the rules of the game. So first of all, you got to decide where to compete. Then you start looking at how to compete, and then you start asking yourself, you know, is this even a good industry to enter? Okay? And so we're going to continue that kind of train of discussion today by looking first at industry life cycle. Industry life cycle looks at kind of how an industry evolves and changes over time. At what stage in a life cycle is an industry? And of course, remember, we already talked a little bit about 5 forces, how you could look at the present and the future profitability of an industry. But that's what you're also looking at in an industry life cycle. So you can have the industry life cycle going on in the back of your mind when you're assessing how an industry might change over time. And of course, your assessment of those industries would inform whether you should enter an industry at all, and if so, at what point in an industry's life cycle should you enter. We'll also look at the BCG Matrix 2. That's the Boston Consulting Group Matrix 2. And that helps you understand strategic environments, because certain industry structures have different attractiveness, different rules of the game, different key success factors. Then we'll look at scenario building, one of my personal favorites. And scenario building helps you understand kind of what are all the wild and crazy things that may happen as an industry progresses through its life cycle. Gives you a variety of different futures to come up with and different strategic options based on those predicted futures. Scenario building is probably my favorite because it gives you a chance to be almost like a science fiction writer. I think it's a lot of fun. And then towards the end, we'll do just a little bit of discussion of competitive intelligence. Great. So I hope you have enjoyed the introduction. We're going to proceed in our discussion looking at an industry life cycle. I'm looking forward to seeing you then.